Hello, hi everybody. I hope you can see me. We're a little bit late because I couldn't figure out how to make everything work. So if you're watching, could you leave me a little comment in the Q&A thing so I know that I'm actually live and I haven't completely messed it up. Luckily, you can edit this bit off the beginning. Hello, is anybody watching? Well, I'm just going to start talking and hope that someone will pop up in the Q&A bit and I can see that I'm actually on air and I'm not just talking to myself. Luckily, when you put this on YouTube afterwards, you can edit the beginning bit out, which is always nice. So, hello, thank you for tuning in, guys. Oh, you are live, we can see you, yay! Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, let's pretend that never happened. Hello, I'm Kat, and for about an hour, I'm going to answer any of your questions. So, you guys seem to have figured out this system quicker than I have. You can see where the questions are, where the section is to put your questions. If you have any, put them there, and I will do what I can. So, I had a couple of questions submitted via email and Twitter and stuff beforehand, so I'm going to kick off by them. Also, you can see on the questions there's a little +1 or a +2, so you can kind of upvote questions. So if someone asks a question that you'd really like me to answer, then upvote it and then it will pop to the top. So the first one I'm going to answer is a fun one that Paul Jarvis asks, and he wanted to know, what is your favourite potato chip flavour ever? P.S. Potato chips are what you would call crisps. Now, I saw that you submitted this question last night, so I was thinking about it. And I think I'm quite boring, and I would say salt and vinegar. But I also quite like cheese and onion. So yeah, I mean, this is the way it's going to go. That it will be quite easy. Okay, so here's a couple that I was asked by email. So Claire Lincoln emailed me last week saying, I'm having a budget homemade 50s wedding. It's in 7 weeks, and I'm stressing out about everything. But two things in particular. I'm really struggling to organise everything, and I'm exhausted from thinking about everything all the time. I've even thought about cancelling the wedding altogether. Oh, don't do that. I'm so stressed I keep picking up sweets, and I'm worried I'm going to look like a beach whale in my dress. I'm a large lass anyway, and feeling even bigger isn't helping my confidence. So that was her first question. The first thing I would say to you is you are going to look gorgeous. Just because you're going to be so happy, it's going to be the best day of your life, and your husband or your wife is marrying you because they love you for you. So please don't worry about how you're going to look. I know we all stress about how we're going to look every day, and a wedding day is probably the time you're going to stress about that the most. But I swear, on the day you won't care. You'll just be so happy, hopefully. You've only got 7 weeks to go, so there probably isn't like a big diet plan you can do. I'm not a big fan of like pre-wedding crash diets anyway, but just try and like eat a little bit healthier. I just did a 3-day detox last week, and I'm putting a blog post about it on my site tomorrow, and it was hard, like really hard, but I did feel a lot better for it afterwards, just by eating like a lot healthier. I just felt a bit lighter and a bit like just better. So maybe for a week or a couple of weeks beforehand, just really try not to pick on those sweets, just because you'll feel better in your body. It's not even about losing weight, you'll just feel better by not putting crap in your body. So yeah, but please try not to worry about that kind of stuff, because I swear on the day you will not give a shit. Hopefully. And Claire's second question was, as much as I adore and cherish my other half, it's becoming apparent that he's useless at organising stuff, and even after endless lists and resorting to nagging, I can't get his arse in gear. Oh, I really sympathise. I'm tired of being the one who has to do absolutely everything. I know he's very stressed, and the reason why he keeps burying his head in the sand, but I'm struggling to cope. Any advice, no matter how small, will be greatly received. Yeah, I struggle with this too. Gareth is sat just off screen, and I heard him like slightly chuckle when I read this out, because I am constantly like nagging him to do things. He's just not as driven as I am. But I think the main problem when it comes to planning such a thing as a wedding, it's such a big event, that it can just feel really overwhelming. Like you have so much to do. You're kind of looking at, you have to book the florist, and you have to find a photographer, and you have to sort out the venue. It's like there's so much to do. It can be, you put your head in the sand because you think the task is too big. If you break it down into smaller tasks, and if they still feel big, then break them even smaller. It will just make it a lot easier. So, you know, maybe one day your task is just to research photographers, and then the next day your task is just to look at dresses. And then when it comes to trying to get your husband or your fiance involved, maybe just give him really small tasks. Like, you know, it'd really help me if you could start thinking about what stationery you'd like, or, you know, if you could call this caterer and figure this out for me. If you just give him little tasks, then it might be easier than being like, please help me, like, with everything, because that's very overwhelming. But, you know, not all grooms or all guys or all girls are going to be really into the whole planning thing. Like, maybe you just need to speak to your mom instead, like, or a bridesmaid or a friend that could help you. It doesn't have to be him if he's really not into it. Another thing you do is you can get an on-the-day coordinator, so someone that'll come in just for the day, and they'll, you know, help you. They'll organise it all, so you don't need to worry. Like, you tell them what to do and they do it. And I think, like, they'll cost you maybe a couple £100. I'm not sure exactly, but just for the day, I think it would probably be worth it if you're stressed, because you don't want to be the one chasing up everything happening on the day. So, okay. Haley Burgess said, my wonderful fiance is exactly the same height as me in heels. I'd love to find some heels for my wedding day, so in my photos I can gaze up at him adoringly. I'm also thinking comfort factor. Some fabulous, sparkly, pretty lower-heeled shoes would be awesome, as all I seem to find are beautiful skyscraper Louboutins and Jimmy Choos. I'd love to find something with a wow factor and the ouch factor not there, and they're comfortable. Well, the high street is great shoes. Paradox London do some really good, like, flat ballet flats that are, like, covered in crystals. If you're, like, looking at Louboutins and Jimmy Choos, then maybe budget isn't a massive issue, so something like that would be good. I was in Whistles the other day, and they had some really cool flat ballet flats that were, like, silver, like metallic silver, and they're kind of distressed looking. They were really cool. And ASOS is always good. Like, I buy all my shoes on ASOS, really. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty, especially in summer. Lots of people are doing sandals and stuff, so hopefully that'll be good. But yeah, Paradox London have some really great sparkly ones. They're a little bit more spendy, but they're really great. Okay, I'm going to hit up some questions that have been asked live. So I hope I'm not talking too fast. Okay, Anne Raymond. Our relatives are mostly young, but there are many groups that don't know each other. I thought organising little games could help bonding the guests, 50 people. How can I make entertainment that's not childish? I think people love childish games. I went to a wedding once where on the centerpieces they had board games, so each table had a different board game, and I think our table had, like, Hungry Hungry Hippos. And it was, people got really competitive, and it was really fun. So I don't think that it has to be, like, all serious, because people like the fun games. A thing we did at our wedding was we had a little quiz on everyone's place name. I think we had one per table, and it was a quiz about me and Gareth as, like, children, and then our relationship and how we met and all these different things. And then I think each table answered the questions together, and then one table won a prize, and I think they won, like, some champagne and some chocolate or something. I can't exactly remember, but because they had to do it together, like, that kind of helps them to bond. But most of the time, if there's people and there's booze and there's food, most people will kind of get on. But yeah, I think a quiz or some fun board games could work quite well. I would always be grateful for a board game, but I'm a big nerd like that. So, Sophie King. Oh, hi, So. Thanks for watching. She said, what are your top tips for keeping a super tight budget? Well, I guess it depends how small your budget is, but I would say to prioritize what's really important first. So for me, it would be the photographer. That's what I'd want to spend the most money on. So prioritize that first and spend what you need to spend on that, and then kind of work around with what you have. Like, I featured weddings that have been, like, they've spent £900, ones that have spent, like, £1,000, and, you know, they've spent money where they needed to, but they've saved it. You know, they've bought a high street dress, or they've bought flowers from a supermarket and put them together themselves. Like, there are so many amazing ways to save money on weddings these days. I mean, my personal opinion is, if you have a great photographer and you feel really good with what you're wearing, and, like, you have food and drink that people are going to like, then it's probably going to be a hit. All the other stuff is just kind of a bonus. The most important thing is that you have a venue and you feel good and people get to eat. So I would focus on whatever your priorities are, and spend the money on that, and then just forget the rest. if you don't need it. That would be my advice. Okay. I hope everyone else has got a little drink. I've got tea. Of course. So, next. This was another one that was pre-submitted. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot to say my name. Oh no, Rebecca Warden emailed me this week and said, "Hey, please, 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 could you tell me which makeup products you use?" Sorry, I'm just like half cough. I'm coming up to 30. I'm 30, so I feel you. And I'm finally learning to love myself and not care what people think about me, and be more confident in my style. I'm trying to sort out makeup looks, and I'm having a fun time experimenting. Well, because I knew this question was coming, I grabbed some of my products. So this is the part where I pretend to be a beauty blogger. But I've got quite dry skin. It's like dry-ish. And obviously I'm super pale. So on my face I use Clinique Age Defense BB Cream. I use this because it's quite light. I don't really know what the point of a BB cream is. Like, it's kind of the same as tinted moisturizer, but I like it because it's quite light. And I use shade 1, the lightest one, and I put it on with a beauty blender. And these, if you don't have a beauty blender, you should get one because they're awesome. So you run it under a tap and wring it out, and then you kind of dab it on, and it just makes your skin look really airbrushed. So I kind of use these. Then my powder is, well, my concealer is a Bobbi Brown one. I think it's supposed to be just for under the eyes, but I use it on my spots too because, you know, who says I can't? What else have I got? My eyebrow stuff is called Browsings, and it's a brow shaping kit by Benefit. This is kind of gross looking, but I've had this, I swear, about a year, and it's still like hardly indented, so that's what I use on my eyebrows. See? My brushes, I just got these ones from Sugar Pill. They sent them to me, and they are like vegan friendly. They're not made of animal hairs, and they are brilliant. Like, just the shape of them is amazing. Like, I use this one just to put my eyeshadow on, and it just blends really easily, and they're not super expensive. I think they're about $20 each, but if you're going to invest in brushes, like MAC ones are so expensive, and I think these ones are really good. Like, they're probably the best brushes I've ever used, especially for the price. On my lips, I'm currently wearing this Revlon Color Burst Matte Balm in Unapologetic. It's like a coral. I bought this in Canada, and it was like really cheap because it's Revlon, and I really like the color. I also bought it in a different color, about 3 different colors. Any kind of pink lipstick, obviously. I'm into pink. I have about a squillion lipsticks, much to Garrett's distress. I threw loads of them away the other day, and he was like really excited. On my eyeliner, I'm currently using Magic Ink, again by Benefit. I was using one that was, my friend Gala recommended it. It was a Makeup Forever one, and the brush was really good, but I kept finding that it was like smudging here, like I don't know if I have weird shaped eyes or something. But this one doesn't move, so I use this one. And Benefit are bringing out a new one soon that's going to be called, I think it's called, oh, fuck, I can't remember. It's something like They're Real or something. And all the beauty YouTube bloggers are saying that it's like the most amazing eyeliner ever. So I'm totally going to be first in line to buy one of them. And my powder is, I use a Lush powder actually. Again, vegan friendly. Pretty sure, yeah, not tested on animals. Very important. And again, it's like the translucent one, like the palest one. This is actually the best powder I've ever used, and it's like, I think it's £12. It's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive either. Like, I've used MAC, used all the big brands, and that one just sets my makeup really well. It's kind of just doesn't look really powdery. So that's a really good one. So I hope that answered your question. And I have like loads of makeup elsewhere, but this is just what I use on like an everyday sort of thing. Okay. Sarah Waite says, gosh, I can't believe it's 4:20 already. I've been talking a million miles an hour. Okay. Sarah Waite says, specs. I had a lot of pressure before my wedding to ditch the glasses and wear contacts because it would spoil the photographs. People suck. Thankfully, I'm stubborn and refuse, but just wondered what your thoughts are on brides in glasses. Well, my thoughts are that you should wear whatever you bloody well feel comfortable in. I wear glasses. I am blind as a bat. Like, my prescription is literally like, I can't see anything. Like, I can't even see people's features if I take my contacts out or don't have glasses on. So yeah, I wear glasses most of the time, but I prefer contacts just because I think I look better without glasses on. But you know, people should just wear what they like. I love brides in glasses. Like I love brides without glasses. I love whatever. You know, wear what you want. I think, yeah, don't bloody conform is what I would say to anything. Any of those questions, don't conform to what everybody else kind of thinks you should do. So I hope that answered your question. And did you wear your glasses on your day? Oh, Gareth is just holding up a laptop saying, if you go to Rock and Roll Bride and search glasses in the search bar, then you can see all the weddings I've featured of brides wearing glasses. He's so good. He keeps me on track. Oh, goodness. Tori M says, I love hearing you chat about everything, Kat, and wow, your hair looks bloody amazing. Oh, thanks. I'm so happy to finally have a haircut. I haven't had my haircut for about 3 years because it was so fucked. It was really damaged, and it was just like as much length as I could get. And then I went to LB, who does my hair, the other day, and I was like, I think I need a cut because it was just like nothingy. And we've done this like bob, like a long bob, and I'm really happy. We also put blue and purple in it, which always makes me happy. So thank you, Tori. That's so nice of you to say. I'm pleased to have a haircut for once. Okay. Raina Fleet. Raina came to our Calgary workshop, so it's so nice that you are up at the crack of dawn to watch. Thank you. My boyfriend and I want to have a super tiny wedding someday. If there are too many people, I'll probably do a runaway bride thing. We both have largest families, even just siblings and parents with plus ones would cover over 20 people. Any advice on who to invite? Well, it's obviously up to you who you have and you don't have. You could just run away and elope. Lots of people do that. I personally, if it was me, I would feel a bit bad if my parents weren't there, just because I know how important it would be for them to be there. But yeah, just invite who you want to invite. Like, one of the things with our wedding that I felt quite pressured on was to invite like people that had known me growing up, or second cousins, or my mum would be like, oh, this person was there when you were christened, like, and it was like so much pressure to have this massive wedding. What we did in the end was we had our one wedding, which was still quite big. I think we had like 120 people. And then after we came back from our honeymoon a week later, we did like a garden party in my parents' garden to invite like all those extra people. And like I wore my dress again. I wore trainers and I had my hair down, but I was still wearing my dress. And Gareth wore his suit, and my dad did a speech again. And we like had the leftover champagne because we bought so much. And yeah, it was really nice to have like a second wedding for those kind of, no, it sounds awful, but like B-list people. But weddings are expensive, and a lot of people understand that they can't be at everything. I just wrote a blog post last week about having children at a wedding, if it's okay to not have children at a wedding. And one of the things that kept propping up in the comments was that it's really expensive to have children there. Like often you have to pay the same amount to feed a child as you do for an adult. So yeah, I think it's fine to just have a small one and then maybe do something else, another party or something. But yeah, invite the most important people and forget the rest. I think if Gareth and I were getting married again, we probably still would have quite a big wedding because like I've got quite a big family. But yeah, hope that helps. But 20 is quite a nice number. Everyone can have a pretty decent meal on 20. Okay, I'm just going to have another celebrity. Please excuse me, it's very important. I'll make sure I made it in the biggest mug. It's like the size of my head, so that it would last. Okay. Next question. Samantha Gray emailed me before, and she said, can you please recommend some cool wedding venues in Brighton? Yes. First of all, the best way to find any kind of supplier or vendor on my site is just to go to the search bar and just search for Brighton, or search for UK photographer, or search for whatever it is you're looking for, because all the weddings that I blog are tagged for certain things, so they'll all pop up. But I had a quick scan, and some cool places that I've featured recently. The Brighton Bandstand, right on the seafront. You can get married on it. It's obviously, you can have a reception there because it's a bandstand, but it's a cool place to have the ceremony. Pride Cabaret is like a cabaret club. It's a little bit dark and dingy. It's a bit rough around the edges, but it's also kind of cool. The Duke of York Cinema is amazing. It's obviously like an old cinema, but it's got like giant legs on the roof. But yeah, I've featured a lot of weddings in there. It's pretty rad. The Ginger Pig is a good restaurant, really nice food. JB's American Diner is really good for photos. It's really cool inside, but I've heard it's not great for a reception, so you might want to go there and have the photos taken, but don't actually eat there. I think it's, I don't know, heard it's not brilliant. Ridge Farm is a farm just outside of Brighton, where the photography farm is held, which is a workshop my friend Lisa does, and it's super cool, and you can hire the whole thing for like a weekend, and your friends and family can stay there, and you can have a marquee on the grounds. Yeah, I think that's about it that I can think off the top of my head, but go to my site and search for like whatever town or city you're getting married in. Hopefully some things will pop up that can help you. Okay. All right. Dominique Ascot said, we have a small budget, £3,000. What would you advise that we prioritise on? So I kind of covered this with Sophie's question earlier, but me personally, I would prioritise on photography, number one, my outfit, number two, because I want to feel amazing, food and drink, because if you've got good food and drink, people will be happy, and then the venue, probably. Venues can be like the most expensive bit, but like you can hire pubs and restaurants, and they're not like so we had a drama with our wedding 3 months before our original venue cancelled. Well, they didn't cancel, they'd like fucked up. There was works going on, and it was like a bomb site, so we couldn't get married there. And they were like, oh, you can have a marquee, and I was like, if I'd wanted a marquee, I would have booked a marquee. So we had to find a new venue at the last minute, and because it was only 3 months to go, we looked at like loads of bars and restaurants and stuff. And I was really surprised that you could hire them super cheap. Like a lot of them would let you have it for nothing as long as you bought the food with them. Some of them wouldn't let you do it on a Saturday night, but you could do it any other night. I think one of the ones we looked at, which is like probably one of the like fanciest restaurants in Reading, was £300 to hire it, and then you just had to buy the food and the drink. And it was going to come all in at about £3,000, which is significantly lower than like a big stately home that can be like £30,000 for the weekend. So yeah, and the food would be better. Gareth just whispered to me. All right. Tolly Dolly Posh said, do you make flower crowns yourself? And if so, where do you get your flowers from? Random, but I just wondered. Well, no, I don't make flower crowns myself. My friend Sophie, who answered my question earlier, who asked a question earlier, sorry, has a company called Crown and Glory, and pretty much all of my flower crowns I wear are from her because her stuff's just the best. And this isn't like staged. Gareth just literally ran into our bedroom, and grabbed one. So here's a black one. I honestly don't know where she buys the stuff, like the flowers and stuff, but like I think this is something like £15, like 10 to £20, like not very expensive. And yeah, so I also have a collection that I did with Soph that you can buy on my site or on hers. It's like just called Rock and Roll Bride for Crown and Glory, and there's loads of like flower crowns and stuff there. But yeah, flower crowns are everywhere at the moment too, like in the high street because it's summer, like festival season. But you know, they're everywhere. But if you want to make real flower crowns, a lot of florists have started doing like flower crown making workshops because they're like really in. So maybe you could research that and get yourself some ideas. That would be fun. Okie dokie. Okay, here was another one that I was tweeted. Becky Joyner said, if you want to share a link from another website or blog, is it acceptable just to link to them, or do you have to ask permission, e.g. in your Thursday Treats links? And if you don't ask, do they actually see your link as a ping back in the stats? You don't have to ask permission to link to someone. Who doesn't want to be linked to online? It's kind of like the nature of the internet is to share things. It's different if you're going to be reposting someone's photos. You can't just repost someone's photos without asking because they own the copyright, but you can totally just link to them. I've actually made loads of like friends by linking to their stuff in my Thursday Treats, and then they see it pop up in their like trackbacks that they've been linked to. Or you could drop them an email and let them know, or you could leave them a comment. It's a really good way of like making connections by linking to people. I've made like loads of friends that way. So yeah, you don't have to ask permission, and you should definitely do it. Cara Lee Cookway said, excuse me, I just have to scan this across. Do you believe it's possible to have a successful blog on a serious budget? When I mean budget, I mean absolutely next to nothing. Blog, yes. To have a blog, you basically need to buy a domain, and pay for hosting. I mean, there are lots of free ones you can use, like Blogspot is free and WordPress.com is free. If you want to have like your URL.com and you want it to be a business, then you basically you have to pay for your domain and pay for your hosting. This is I'm just going to turn to Gareth, but I think buying your domain will be like what, £25 a year, £20 a year. £2 for a .co.uk, yeah. £2. Wow, that's pretty cheap. And for hosting, how much would it cost? Like hosting?
£5 a month.
£5 a month for hosting, so that's pretty budget. But yeah, as I said, you can use Blogspot or WordPress.com for free. So yeah, it's pretty inexpensive. But if you're going to do it as a business, then you probably want to actually host it yourself and buy a .com. My advice generally from starting up a blog or a business is that you should reinvest as much as you can. So when you start making a profit, instead of like taking it and buying some shoes, for example, take it and put it back into the business. So, you know, spend a bit of money on your branding or update your template or something, because the faster you update and reinvest, the quicker you'll progress. So yeah, that would be my advice. But yeah, you can start with hardly anything. I started with nothing. I started as a private secret blog that no one knew existed on Blogspot, and the only reason it ever became a business was because I deleted it by mistake, and then I went to Gareth and I was like, oh, I've deleted my blog, and he was like, you have a blog? And I was like, yeah, it's about weddings. And he was like, okay, that's really sad. And he was like, oh, we can't fix it, but we could like buy the .com and get you on WordPress and like do it again, like do it properly. So yeah, if I hadn't accidentally deleted it, I probably would still have been using Blogspot for years. So yeah, you can definitely do it on absolutely nada. All right, let's see. Yeah. All right. Kate Gardiner said, I'd love to ask what the best way to launch a new business alongside a blog is. I'm going to have a blog on my new site, which is going to be wedding-focused illustration business. What are your top tips for getting the word out about my new business when I launch it? And what are the best ways to connect with people and build a following? I know it's going to be hard work, which I'm prepared for, but I want to give myself the best shot. Well, first of all, the Blog Academy Homeschool, which is the Blog Academy's online blog booster videos that we sell, are $20 each, and one of them is on PR and marketing for blogs. So, Kate, you should check that out because it's like 30 minutes long and it's got worksheets and stuff. It's a lot more in depth than what I can cover now. But obviously you want to be using your social media to promote all your stuff. Like, I think people pretty much know that. Some other things you can do to promote a new blog are do some advertising. Facebook advertising can be really affordable. The key thing with advertising on Facebook is that you need to be really specific about who you want to target, because it works on like a sliding scale. So the less people you target, the less you pay. So, for example, if your blog, what is your blog going to be? Illustration, wedding focused illustration. So you'd want to do an advert on Facebook, but just focus it on people that are engaged in your local area. And then that won't be that many people, which will mean that you won't have to pay that much. So it can be good to experiment with Facebook advertising. Another thing you can do to get the word out about your site is to reach out to journalists and magazines in your niche, especially when you're a little bit more established. They're always looking for like experts for pieces, so you know, don't worry about reaching out to people like that. The most important thing when it comes to making a blog successful is to write content that's going to help people. So write content that covers things people are already searching for. So the reason I think Rock and Roll Bride is so successful is because I write like advice columns. I share cool weddings I can't see anywhere else, but I also write like advice pieces. So people generally don't go to Google and put in like wedding blog, but they might go to Google and write, you know, what do I do if I don't want to have children at my wedding? And then hopefully they would find my article that I wrote last week about that. So that kind of naturally shares your blog with a wider audience by making kind of helpful content. Another thing you can do is collaborate with other people. So maybe put together a styled shoot with some other people in the industry and try and get it featured somewhere, or maybe host a party or an event. I used to do that a lot. I'd host like networking events with people in the industry. People would come along, would have a drink and meet, and it's really great to meet people in real life too. And you know, maybe reach out to some bloggers and see if you can work on a project with them, or do some advertising. Like, there's so many different ways to launch. But yeah, definitely check out the homeschool video, because hopefully that's got, you know, it's got a lot more stuff in there. Kim Anderson said, "Can we see Henry and Rachel, please?" Well, I know you're only here for Henry and Rachel. The question is, where are they? I see Gareth scurrying. I think he's got one. Please hold. I guess it's Henry. Henry. Oh! Oh, look at that face. You're so cute. I mean, how are you just not dying of the cuteness? He is like the cutest little thing. Big thing. He's huge. Henry. Oh, I just want to kiss you all over. That's Henry. I don't know where Rachel is. Oh, Rachel's snoozing. Maybe she'll come down before the end if she wakes up. I hope that satisfied you, Kim. Now, there's like cat hair everywhere. Occupational hazard of having Maine Coons with like the longest hair everywhere is it gets flipping everywhere. Okay. Is everyone there telling me they can see you? All right, I've got a few more pre-submitted questions, and then it's all going to be over to you guys watching. So, oh balls, the ones that I had are not saved. Let me see if I can find these other questions. I'm so professional. Hang on. I'm just going to have another sip of tea. You should do the same while I get this question out that was emailed this morning. Now my email is choosing to like torture me by being really slow. I can remember it, but I can't remember the name. But someone emailed me this morning asking if I had any advice for what wedding photographers should wear at weddings. And I would say, I'm not a wedding photographer, obviously, but I would say you want to wear something comfortable and covering. So probably leggings, because you'll probably be like, I mean, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl either, but you're going to be like crawling around. So you don't want to like flash people. That's not a good look. And probably don't just wear black. Like you don't want to look like you're going to a funeral. Maybe wear a little bit of colour. But you also don't want to look like a guest. So don't wear like a massive fascinator. Like maybe just like, I don't know, a nice dress over a leggings, or if you're a guy, like a pair of black trousers and a cool shirt. I don't know. Kind of want to blend into the background a little bit. I wish I'd saved the rest of those questions. Someone else asked me earlier, and sorry, I can't remember the name. I think it was Beth, asked where the best places to get 50s wedding dresses was. She was in Singapore, so you'll probably want to be looking online. But Fur Coat and Knickers are like my favourite place. They're only in London, and I don't think they ship, so that's not very helpful. But online, Unique Vintage do like reproduction vintage dresses, and they're pretty affordable. Same Candy Anthony is another designer that does reproduction vintage. They're a little bit more expensive. And Vivian of Holloway, again in London, but they sell online, do kind of reproduction vintage dresses, lots of 50s styles. If you want actual real vintage, then I would like go on Etsy or eBay. You can get some like really great ones on Etsy and eBay for not very expensive. Or like lots of there's so many vintage wedding fairs these days, and they all sell dresses there. Like people, exhibitors that sell vintage dresses go and sell them there. So hit up some vintage wedding fairs. Now, please excuse me, I'm just going to log into my other computer. You're probably getting a nice shot of my nose there. And I think my problem was I saved the document that I put the other questions on, but I didn't open it on the new computer. Yes. Okay, I have to read it. Red Garnet Lab said, I'm planning... Hang on, what is this? How do I get that off? Can you please get that off for me? I'm glad Gareth is here. Wouldn't be able to do it without him. Just space it down then, so it goes away. Oh my god, I'm just like the most professional live stream you've ever watched. I'm sure it is. Get it. Red Garnet Lab said, I'm planning a 250 to 300 people wedding. Holy moly. My fiance is Syrian and I'm Russian. We're getting married in Sweden. Wow, that's international. So his guests will be Arabic and Swedish speaking, mine will be Russian and English speaking, and of course his elderly relatives speak only Arabic. My closest family speak only Russian. Wow. I really don't know how to organise the entertainment. I don't want everybody feeling left out because they don't understand the thing. I'd love for everyone just to have fun. Do you have any ideas on how we can make it work? Well, music, all always goes down a treat, whatever language it's in. If you get a really cool band or a good DJ, then that should be fine. I'm a big fan of games, like board games, quizzes, things like that. You can have, like, if you're going to do the quiz thing, you can have it in different languages, like for whichever the table it was on. That could be useful. But yeah, like if it's a band, or if it's something like a magician, which you don't need a language for, they just do it through hand movements, sleight of hand, and all that. Yeah, there are plenty of different things you can do that don't need speaking. So yeah, I would say get a really great band, or like a magician, or you can get people that like do caricatures of like guests. There was a girl at the wedding where I went to, and I can't remember the name of the company because I'm shit, but it was like a photo booth, but she was in the booth and you stood in front of it and then she drew you. So it was like a drawing photo booth, which was pretty cool, and a normal photo booth. Everyone loves a photo booth. You don't even need to be able to speak to love a photo booth. It's like the most entertaining thing ever. So that's what I would say about that. So I just want to know, I'm just going to check, because there's a couple of different places you could submit questions on this Google Plus thing, and I don't want to miss anybody, because all the ones that have been asked on the event I've already answered. So if you have a question that I haven't answered yet, then please put it on the Q&A. Everyone just saying that I'm live. Paul Jarvis said again, I like your questions, Paul, because they're weird. I'm most curious as to whether you prefer straight or bendy straws. That's a wedding question, right? Although we didn't have any straws at my wedding, but perhaps we should have. Well, I am a fan of the bendy straw, because you can't, like, can you pass me this? Of course, being like a blogger, I have some fucking stripy straws on my desk. These look really good in photos, but like to drink out of them, they're a pain, and because they're paper, they get all soggy, which is no good. And I like to kind of sit there like with a bendy straw, so I can kind of like rest. Like straight straws are a bit difficult to drink out of, but they look nicer. So, Paul, in answer to your very important question, it really depends on whether you want it to look good or to be functional. I mean, what more could you want to know? All right. Well, I don't think I have any more questions to answer, so I think we'll call it a day there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm very grateful for you giving up your Sunday afternoon to spend half an hour to an hour with me. I hope I have helped a few of you and you've enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll do another one. Oh, wait, I have another question. My friend Sophie, who I said, Crown and Glory girl, she just said, how can I get Gareth, her Gareth, she has a Gareth too, not my Gareth. How can I get Gareth to propose to me? Oh, poor Gareth. He gets so much pressure because she doesn't work in the wedding industry, but she knows a lot of like wedding industry people because she does like flower crowns and stuff. And like everyone's married or engaged and like they're not. And he gets so much pressure. Like, when are you going to propose to Sophie? I feel so bad for him. Gareth, my Gareth, do you have any insight on how you can get someone to propose? He's like looking sad. Like, I think you just have to wait. He'll get there. He'll get there. Took my Gareth 5 years, so sometimes Gareths just need a little nudge, or you just have to wait. Okay. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. And if you've liked it, then feel free to tweet me and let me know, or leave a comment on Facebook, and I'll do another one if you think it's been worthwhile. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So thanks so much for giving up your Sunday afternoon, and I'll see you on the internet elsewhere. Bye.